I remember the first time I got into FNAF. I was at least like 9 or 10 years old. I was at daycare hanging out with some friends. I think we were watching just creepy pastas and all that on, I think, a tablet. I don't know about phone, but I think a tablet. And we were just watching horror videos, and then FNAF popped up and we watched it. It scared the living shit out of me, but it got me interested in it. It was different than what the creepy pastas were back then. Because like Slenderman was popping off and Jeff the Killer and all that. But FNAF was different in that matter. I think I went home and watched Markiplier play the very first FNAF game, his very first video, and then I watched Jacksepticeye, and then later on the FNAF animations, the Gmod videos. Just had a lot of fun and laughed, and FNAF made me feel like I was a part of its world, the realistic horror aspect of it, and overall the creepy but cool designs of the character. I remember I wasn't at a good point in my life. My parents split up. I stayed with my mom, and we kind of were. It's kind of hard, you know. That's Me and my mom been through it, and no matter where I went or what I did, I would always be doing something or watching FNAF. I would either be drawing it or watching it or building Legos out of it or buying something related to FNAF. It was I just loved it, you know. FNAF has been with me just like Spider-Man and like Batman has for like a lot of people. It helped me get into drawing actually, and even got me into storytelling and writing. It helped a lot with becoming who I am now. But now I'm 18, graduated high school a couple of months ago, and I'm still a big fan of FNAF. You know, it's kind of crazy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my first video on the channel. You can call me Madness, you can call me whatever. And today's is a very special day for FNAF because FNAF is turning 10 years old on August 8th, which this video should be uploaded by then. Now, I do have another FNAF video in the works, and it's going to be about the FNAF movie. It was going to be released today, but it really wasn't about FNAF as a whole. Just about the movie and how I would have did it and this and that. And the next video will not be like about that. I'll give you a hint. It's probably going to be about part 2. Since, you know. But anyway, I'm making this video for FNAF's 10th anniversary. Which, God, I feel old. Jeez. But it's kind of crazy to me that it's been like 10 years of FNAF. Like, time goes by fast. I mean, we had a movie come out during that. Banger games. I will say some weren't bangers, but still. Just and cool collabs and this and that, and then we're getting even more news with the FNAF movie part 2, Joy Creation, which is probably one of my most anticipated games, like fucking Pop goes. I mean, it's crazy. Like, a new FNAF game too. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. It's a crazy year for FNAF again. So, in celebration of FNAF's 10th anniversary, I'm thinking that I'm gonna rate every FNAF game from Masterpiece to Pooh. And to be honest, I didn't really know what the hell I was gonna plan, but this came into mind and I thought this would be a good video. And, it just popped in my head and I thought it would be cool. So before we start, I don't know why Freddy in Space and Furry Rage is on tier list thing, whatever. So ignore that if you see it on like the bottom when I record it or whatever. So let's keep her going. So we got Masterpiece, Good, Okay, Bad, and Pooh. Pooh being the worst, Masterpiece being the best. So without further ado, let's get started with our first one. Let's start off with the game that started all of this, FNAF 1, baby. Looking back on this game, it was, well, clearly a masterpiece. One of a kind back then. But now, I would say it's still good. It still competes. It's still good, I would say. I mean, I played it a couple of days ago, and it was still hard. It was still difficult, you know what I'm saying? Very long. I know the game can get kind of boring because you gotta wait and then this and then that. And it's kind of intense though because you gotta wait and then, find out what's gonna happen. And then the animatronics are coming after you and all that. But I'm not saying it's bad. I've seen people play it to this day that still get surprised and scared and don't know what to do. So I'll cut it short. I will say this game is still a masterpiece. The one that started FNAF and a new genre of horror as a whole. And I think the designs of the animatronic are amazing. They fit the atmosphere. The atmosphere in the game, by the way, perfect. Like, it's like something like the atmosphere, you could feel it. Like, you could feel the atmosphere. And it was just, I don't know, it's crazy. I just like the game and overall the creepy but great designs and aspects. I mean, if I had to pick my favorite characters, it'd either be Freddy or Foxy. Just the designs and the fan-made stories, especially with Foxy being the good guy theory. God, I'm old. Oh my god, I can't believe I remember that. Those were the good times. My god. FNAF 1 is my childhood. And for me, it deserves to be a masterpiece. The game alone is very good. The atmosphere makes you feel the horror of what is to come, which is the animatronics. The atmosphere with the music and the other sounds making you tense up and stay on your feet. Watching, looking at the cameras and doors. And it had a huge impact on the horror genre as a whole, as I said before. And the animatronic designs, probably one of the greatest FNAF, I mean not FNAF, but greatest designs in horror history besides some other designs I will get into later. But besides that, let's get on to the next one. FNAF 2 is probably the peak of FNAF. When there was hoax characters and people thought they were real, but they weren't. And this is when FNAF got into the aspect of the lore and story of the games. And with probably the best animatronics designs in any FNAF game, besides maybe like one or two. But, we'll get into that later, as I said before. FNAF 2, probably the most iconic and hardest FNAF game out there. Besides, Ultimate Custom Night and FNAF 4, which again, I'll get into later. You have 11 characters going after you in the game. Some you have to keep watch for like the puppet, Mangle, Foxy, Balloon Boy, Probably my favorite character, I would say, is Mangle, the puppet, or Golden Freddy. I just like the designs. Just the designs alone just makes them stand out more. I would say probably my top three favorite FNAF games. I would say FNAF 2 is. It just had a huge impact, even more than FNAF 1 has had on the genre of FNAF, and maybe even horror alone. I mean, to be honest, 1 through 3 probably were the biggest impact of horror genre on the horror genre as a whole, and FNAF as a whole. And just looking back on the hype of FNAF 2 or at the community, it was just fun. The community was just having a great time with each other, theorizing about the lore, the animatronics, cool designs, and them making their LCs or doing something different with the designs, which I will say are a lot of OCs. I will say, you know what I'm saying? And also the ships. But we don't want to talk about that. Anyway, but overall, gameplay, great. I would say great gameplay. Overall, I mean, the gameplay is hard. But when you get used to it, it does become a little intense and fun. I will say more funner than FNAF 1. It's way a lot harder than FNAF 2. I mean 1. Whoa, brain fart. Than FNAF 1. Dare I say, FNAF 2 is basically Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's how good it was for its... And even today, it's still good. I wouldn't even deny it. Like, for me, if I had to play either or game, I would probably play FNAF 2. I think even FNAF 2 was one of the first FNAF games I played on, like, the phone. Or whenever it came out on the phone. Like, it was crazy. So, overall, I'm gonna put FNAF 2 masterpiece on the tier list. Gameplay is difficult, but I will say it is kind of fun, good, not bad. And this is really where FNAF took off, and with the great story and lore and the designs and everything was just getting interesting. It was just a great time for the community and all that. It is still a good game as of today for me, but on to the next game, which is the last FNAF game. Just spoiling now, it ain't. FNAF 3 was very hyped, just like FNAF 2. But it was supposed to be the last FNAF game ever, with the story coming to an end. But it wasn't. You see, the game had very interesting mechanics, but the other thing that really set people off and the fans that didn't really like was the jump scare for Springtrap. This is literally the reason FNAF did not end here, which is crazy to me, because if this didn't happen, FNAF would have really ended here. Like, just thinking about it, I mean, it's crazy. And the thing, if it did end here, I think it would leave a lot of people satisfied, because there ain't a lot of series that do this and have good games like this in a row. And so, yeah, I understand it. I like it, and I think it would be a fitting. There's other games that I would rather it end at, but I'll talk about that later. But if this had to end here, I would be very satisfied, and the lore in the game was very good, I will say, and it did wrap everything up very nicely, especially with the children and all that. FNAF 3 might have not had the best jump scares, but it also did have one hell of a villain, which is Springtrap. Now, Springtrap probably has one of the best horror design in any FNAF game. I mean, I would even say the best horror design and like horror fiction. Like, it's very iconic, very, like, it's just something about that makes it look cool, you know what I'm saying? Makes it look nice. Just a great, characters, designs were from the last game, so I can't say that. But Springtrap design, 10 out of 10. I would fucking recommend basing your LC off of this. No, I'm joking. Fucking, I don't know. Just something that about the design that's iconic and creepy to me. But besides that, the other designs are the same as I said before, are the same from the other two games. And the gameplay intense, couldn't see on the cameras barely, so I think that really difficult. I mean, puts difficulty up with the Phantoms too. But not as intense as FNAF 2, I would say, but it's still hard nonetheless. So I would rate FNAF 3 a good. Not great, but not the worst FNAF game. I would say it's a lot better than some of the other FNAF games we get along the way, which I'll talk about later. But besides that, on to the next one. You know how I said FNAF 2 was probably the hardest game? I was wrong, because FNAF 4 is by far the hardest FNAF game in FNAF history, besides like Ultimate Custom Night, if you do 50-20 mode. But FNAF 4 probably has one of the best animatronic designs as well, maybe even top 3. I know when the models came out and like the designs were shown, fans would fucking deck out their OCs with fucking the nightmare elements on them. I swear to God, I would, because I did it too. Shit, I ain't trying to, like, to be for real. But besides that, also the biggest secret in FNAF history was in this game, which is still hasn't been answered to this day. What is in the box? The gameplay is extremely difficult. Why it's so difficult is because you have to listen. You gotta hear when they're breathing or moving or whatever the hell, because they don't sound like breathing still. And you gotta keep the nightmares out. I mean, you gotta focus because you got Freddy behind you, Bonnie and Chica coming after you, Foxy in the closet, and Nightmare Fredbear, and all that. And it just, gameplay is very cool. I will say gameplay is very difficult. Atmosphere kills it. All these games fucking killed it with the atmosphere. It's probably the best FNAF horror game wise. The best FNAF horror game. Like, I will say that. Like, besides, not because of like the looks of the nightmare, but the risk of you using your flashlight at the door or to shut the door, either or, is very intense. Like, that decisions, like, bonkers. The mini games are fun as fuck. The lore in the game was probably as good as FNAF 3. And like, it was crazy. I don't know, it was just a crazy time to be a FNAF fan, because this is like another hyped up FNAF game where like everyone was freaking out because the teasers and the posters and all that. I forgot about the posters. Like, oh my god, to like teaser images and shit. And the FNAF Halloween update, that was pretty cool. The designs in that were fire. Overall, I will say this game, gameplay wise, cool, very intense and hard. Lore, very cool, all that. You got the crying kid and William, I don't know. I mean, we got all that. And to be honest, I don't know, I would score FNAF 4 a masterpiece. Not just because of the cool designs and the lore, but it just had you at the edge of your seat. The gameplay was hard. Just like you gotta listen and wait, and just overall, just by far the best FNAF horror game in the series so far. Now, this is probably gonna make some of y'all question this pick and where I put this, but hey, it's a part of the FNAF floor in some way, shape, or form, and this is FNAF World. FNAF World is a personal favorite of mine. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of my favorite little FNAF games. It's not the best. Yeah, a lot of people shat on it, but for me, I like it. I don't know. I just like the game. It just not the gameplay was alright. I wouldn't say because the gameplay I like, but I think the atmosphere in the childlike game it was like hiding itself to be when there's some elements here and there. Like it wasn't too fucking serious, but still serious in a way where it's still cool and Easter eggs here and there. The designs, I will say, I would put it at like a top 5, maybe even 3 for best FNAF designs. Just, I don't know. It's kind of cool, cute, all that. I think they should have made like figures or some of them because FNAF 4 has the potential to be great. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, and then, as I said, the secrets. A lot of secrets in the game. And that haven't been really answered, like the what is old man consequences, and the fucking when you go into the lake, there's an image of like 3 silhouettes that still hasn't been answered, as well as probably other theories and questions which I can't really remember at the moment. I'll say the fighting in the game, the gameplay, I will say it's all right. Like I know when it first started out, it was shit. Like I know that, and then it got better because he moved around more and it wasn't pixelated and all that. Overall, I will say it did upgrade a lot, especially when update 2. And I will say also, probably the best fucking humor FNAF game. It probably this. I don't know. I will say this game has the best humor in like any FNAF game. At least when update 2. I will say maybe Sister. We'll get to that later. Anyway, we'll get to that later. The sound, but the best soundtrack in any FNAF game. I will say that, like top 3 at least. Best, you know. Just I don't know. The FNAF World isn't the best game, but it's a little thing where it's like, it's pretty good. Especially when Update 2 came out. Very cool and very nice. Not the greatest game, but it's not the worst FNAF game. Not the worst, but it's okay, And that's why I'm putting FNAF World at okay. That's a great transition. Isn't the great, but it isn't poo. Like, I still like it. It just has a little charm in it for me that I like. The humor, the tone, and how it gets serious. And then, I don't know, I like stuff like that. I like when little games that seem to be all happy and all that just turn just here and there lore of deeper meaning and all that. I don't know. I just like stuff like that a little bit. One of my favorite FNAF games, top 5 at least, or 3 even. But this next one's probably my most favorite FNAF game of all time. But it's not everyone's favorite. So let's get to that. FNAF Sister Location is one of my favorite FNAF games of all time. Not just because of the cool designs alone, but it was the very first FNAF game besides FNAF 4, but that had voice acting, which was mind blowing back then, since we have heard no one talk in the series besides FNAF World, but FNAF World is just like, different than what the actual lore is to the. I mean, I know it's still connected in some way, but just that alone, it was just crazy. The story was also fire. Each night was different, and overall, the gameplay wasn't that bad. Each night was different, so I will give it that. But I understand that some people didn't like the game because of which way FNAF went, which I completely understand and can respect that. I think the YouTuber Oh Yeah makes a great point in his I do not like sister location video, which I think you should watch because it gets pretty into detail of why he doesn't like it and all that. And then another YouTuber's on there that I forgot his name, but he's also cool in the FNAF community. I think I'm subscribed to both of them. I'm gonna check right now because I do watch them time to time, and I think they are very cool people in the community. And he does make a pretty good points in his video. And I'm not gonna lie, FNAF Sister Location probably has one of the best soundtracks too. I'm not top 3. It's like it's always used in videos. I remember. I mean, even today, I think Dako uses them for his background music, or like FNAF, or like something related. It's just like that's always what I think of when I like listen to like the community. I don't know. It just there's something about that. It just makes the game even better with the atmosphere. It just makes it more great. Now I know this game isn't the greatest with story and gameplay, and with some of the changes that fans didn't like the purple guy change into a mad scientist instead of this fucking crazy guy that killed kids. But I think I like both versions of the character. But I do feel like they should have left this William Afton or whatever they want or whatever's going want to call him in his own, like something different than what the books were. Because I think basically when the books came out, I think it was the same time the books were coming out, right? That we got the scientist role in like the next book and in this game and all that. And I would say they should be completely different. Like the books and the games and the movie even. I think like anything that like anything FNAF related that comes out and is new and it's not part of the games should be entirely different. It should not be the same. And like I don't know. I mean, I understand that part, and then how each night is kind of whatever, and all that, and just like overall, not the greatest game, but it isn't the worst FNAF game for me at least. I like the game, and I know a lot of other people do. So yeah, and so as I said before, besides that, I still love the game, even if it's not perfect. So I'm going to put FNAF Sister Location in good. Maybe okay, but for now, I'm going to put it in good. It may have had some bad elements to it, but also it had a lot of good elements, at least for me going. Like each night was different. The feeling like intense when you're doing Foxy's or Freddy's level. So yeah, I would put FNAF's location at good. But besides that, the last FNAF game, for real this time, I guess. Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the last FNAF game. Now, when this was coming out, nobody knew this was gonna be like a FNAF 6 game. I think, from what I remember, Scott said that he was taking a break from making the FNAF games and just wanted to make a little fun FNAF game like FNAF World. And then when it came out, it was crazy. Like, I remember that I was on the bus going to middle school, and when the bus stopped right in front of the school, I scrolled and seen a video from Daco, and I think it was like FNAF 6 and all. Yeah, it was FNAF 6, but I was like, I don't know if it was in the title, but it was just mind blowing. I'm like, oh my god, what? So I watched the video right there when I got off, all that, because I don't like phone, but it was crazy. But besides that, the gameplay was cool. I remember playing it, but I couldn't make it past day 2. That was the only thing holding me back. It was probably the hardest game I played. It isn't the hardest FNAF game, period, but it is pretty hard. So the designs were not the best in the series, in my opinion. It has one of the worst FNAF designs, besides to like the Rockstars and Lefty and like, I guess, Scrap Baby, but I don't know. But story wise, it was pretty great. The story was actually not that bad. It was the final like FNAF games in the series, like the conclusion of like everything that has built up over the years in one, like, I don't know. In terms of it being a FNAF, the last FNAF game to end the trilogy, timeline wise, whatever. But I don't know. For now, this was the end of FNAF. This was a pretty good ending, wrapping other things up as well in one big fire. And I would say it's better than FNAF 3, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I got to think about that, but I will say, I guess better than FNAF 3, because, you know what I'm saying? We got to hear William talking on that, I don't know, and Henry. So, yeah. I don't really have much to say about this game. FNAF kind of ended here for a lot of people, besides one more game, but I'll get into that right after this. This is probably not my favorite FNAF game, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. It's fun. It's a fun game. Good story. Good gameplay. Not the best designs, which kind of sucks. But I would put FNAF 6 in okay or good. Probably good, because I don't know. But besides that, on to the next one. Since the last couple games didn't really have a custom night, Scott decided to make a FNAF game with over 50 characters that you had to face off to, which is still crazy. Like, I don't know. And whoever beat the 50-20 mode, Ultimate Custom Night, would get an exclusive interview with no other than the man himself, Scott Cawthon, which is insane, and nobody could possibly beat 50-20 mode, right? Well, besides Daco beating it, there was this one other guy that beat it, but I think was it only he promised Daco? I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time, and I don't know. I'm just trying to base it off my memory, but I remember it was just probably the best like video, because we never heard Scott until then. We never heard him talk about FNAF or besides like Reddit or whatever the hell. But it was just crazy. The gameplay was good, but there's a lot going on. You have over 50 characters going after you, and you have to figure out how every single character works if you want to be 50/20 mode, which is crazy. The story in the game was good. I would say it's better than FNAF 3 or maybe even 6, but probably not. Well, nah, I wouldn't. It's not an ending, I would say, but it's like, for two characters getting what they deserve, or, whatever. William and H.E. double hockey sticks getting tortured by the one he shouldn't have killed, which I guess we'll never know because the games don't really answer anything. Or it's just very confusing, and besides that, played it, and safe to say, very hard. The hardest FNAF game since 3 or 2, since 2 or 4. No, 4. My bad. I keep forgetting about 4. Besides the jump scares being the worst jump scares in any FNAF game since 3 for Springtrap, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good game with pretty good gameplay and I would say a great story and all that. Designs were used from the other games, so I don't really have anything to say besides oh man, Consequence. I mean, not Consequence, but Fredbear, which we don't get a good look at the design because we don't see him in the game. He's in this 10 plus roster, and I don't know. You gotta do a death coin on Golden Freddy. I did it before, so it don't mind consequences. But besides that, I'm gonna put FNAF Ultimate Custom Night in okay. Not my favorite, and it doesn't really rely on the story. It relies on you beating it, beating the 50/20 mode so you can get what's going on, I guess, or hints of what the little story is. But I think overall, this game doesn't really focus on story, even though how much I'm talking about it, but it focuses more on the gameplay and all that. So I think it's a good ending for FNAF and as a whole. But besides this is the end. I don't know. This is the end of the FNAF timeline. So, oh wait, FNAF didn't stop there. Oh yeah. Well, this is where we get into the controversial shit. So yeah. On to the next. Now, FNAF VR Help Wanted was a big game changer for FNAF. People have been asking for a VR FNAF game since 1 or 2 came out. And I do remember this one FNAF fan game where someone did bring FNAF 1 into VR. But besides that, there were so many people just thinking this game would just be everyday FNAF game. It wouldn't really have a story and just be a fun VR game where you can visit the old FNAF games. And we did not know the half of it. Besides not being able to play it since I don't have a VR and money, I'm not rich. So I had to just watch videos on it. I think at the time I wasn't really into FNAF as much. After FNAF 6 came out and Ultimate Custom Line, but I think I did come back and watch those videos sometime, not too long, but sometime later when I think they were all out, or at least half the episodes were out for some people, and all that. It's just crazy, and it got me back into FNAF, I think. So I don't really have much to say for gameplay besides it just being the other FNAF games, besides some here and there that are different, just in VR, but some new characters like Glitch Trap, which meant Afton was back, which really set people off and didn't really I guess it wasn't confirmed to be Afton, or like I guess it was confirmed to be like a VR Afton, but I don't know. But for me, it was like 50-50. Depending on where they went into the story, which we'll get to that later. I would have liked them. The story in the game is cool and interesting, and depending on which ending you get or find, in one of the endings, we find out that our new villain of the series, which is a girl named the Reluctant Follower. And I think that was interesting. I was kind of excited because this guy is taking over minds, doing this, making her do that, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna make her build him an animatronic body or something like that, or like find him a permanent body, or like make her the permanent body, or something like that. Now the Dreadbear DLC was added later for the Halloween and all that, came out later and hinted to another game that they were making, Seawall. So I forgot. This is when Scott decided to work for a company named Stewwool for like the VR. And yeah, I forgot to mention it. I'm sorry, but the gameplay for the DLC was alright. Story was okay. I mean, you had to like go and figure out that they're making a FNAF game. There's a new FNAF game coming out sooner or later, who knows. I would put I don't know. Like, I don't really have much to say for the DLC because I don't think really it was that great. I thought it was like okay. So I would put FNAF VR at okay. It's not the greatest VR game, but still cool. And the DLC, as I said, I didn't really care for, so I'll put that in okay. Either or, I might put FNAF VR in good, but either or, I think I'll just leave them for the R for now. I don't really care. But on to the next game that fell off. I'm not gonna lie, it fell off. Wow, we are getting a lot of ARs and VRs. It's just weird. Anyway, FNAF AR, if you don't know already, was a FNAF game that you could play on your phone, like Pokemon Go, and for free, and you would get an animatronic and either fight them or send them to someone, so like your friend, so they can fight them. And if you win, you got like parts, and if they won, they got like parts too. I couldn't get it because I didn't have the right phone, but when I did get it, the hype was like gone for the game already, so I fucking deleted it. And it was funny because like I was sick in like the locker room. I was like sick in PE. Like, I remember this, I was in high school still. I remember we still, I think, had to wear masks. And I don't know why I went to school, because I was not feeling good. And so, I don't know why, I was weird. So, I stayed in the locker room, not wanting to just go out there and go for the nurse and all that. So, I stayed in there and like, oh yeah, I have fucking FNAF AR downloaded. And I played that for a bit. And yeah, I recorded myself doing it. I don't think I have it anymore because I think I deleted that shit, and it's on my other phone. And I have like, I don't know. Anyway, besides that, I'm gonna be honest. The game, it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not trying to be mean. It wasn't really good. Even when it gave more lore to like the new characters or character of FNAF, or like hints of the upcoming game. I mean, there were some good skins in the FNAF game. I like Springtrap skin, I will say that. Springtrap had some banger ass skins, I will say. But just like besides, like, the gameplay was alright. Overall, I would put this at like poo on the tier list, cause I mean, could never get. I mean, they shut it down. They shut the game down, and people that spent money on it. Oh yeah, you could spend money on it, which was like, I don't know. spend money on it, and now nobody can get that money back. I mean, that's kind of why I really don't like it, because, like, why have a game up if it's going to be shut down and you're not going to do anything with it, and, like, now refund people that spend, like, hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, like, or, like, and, like, I don't know, that's just, I don't like that, and, yeah, I put that poop, because, like, this game was fucking, it sucks. I mean, you could tell they didn't really care. At least for me, they didn't really care. Like, I feel like they didn't, I don't know. Now, I know this one is gonna get a little controversial, or things are gonna get a little controversial, so this is your warning. This is my opinion. Some of it may not, some of it is not fact. So if you loved the game, you loved it. If you didn't love the game, you didn't love it. Okay, so let's get into probably one of the most controversial FNAF games since, like, Sister Location, maybe FNAF 4. So that was your warning, okay? That was your warning. So, after a new FNAF game being hinted at, or I guess announced in FNAF VR, I wanted, and some teaser images and a lot of delays, the game was finally coming out after so long of waiting. And then, well, earlier on, Functal leaked the characters and all that, but anyway, then we got our first trailer for the game. I think it revealed that it was called Security Breach, and it just looked amazing. It had the potential. The story looked interesting. Just couldn't wait until it released on December 6th of 2021. And when it did, on all platforms like PS4, Xbox, etc., with the most, it was probably one of the most hyped FNAF games since, like, I don't know, like FNAF 3? I don't know. But still probably going to be the scariest. I don't know. And I was hoping this is probably going to be scary because this is like free roam. So, we couldn't wait. And when it came out, it was something. FNAF Security Breach was very glitchy. I mean, you couldn't even play it. That's how glitchy it was. Some people couldn't even play it. But besides, hang on, before we get into that, let's get into the positives first and all that. Even though there was some glitches, I still had fun with it. And I won't even say I enjoyed the game even more when it was glitchy, because the environment was cool. I like some parts of the map, like the main auditorium, or like the entrance. I liked pretty well. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the map, besides like the daycare. The atmosphere felt like it was like a pizzaplex, like you were in the pizzaplex. Like the characters, it did fit the characters. I really like the characters. Like, I will say that. Like Freddy, Roxanne, Vanny, I just think they're interesting, have like cool designs, and like, I don't know, they're just interesting. And gameplay was alright. It was cool. It was new because this was also the first FNAF free roaming game. So we had FNAF VR, which was the first, and then AR, and then we had this. This was like banger after banger. But but besides that, let's get into the negatives. Yeah. The story was just not even there. we didn't know why our character Gregory was running away from the security guard, and we still don't know. We don't know, only theories. Then we had to stay until 6 a.m. We destroyed animatronics just so Gregory can upgrade Freddy for some reason. And Vanny wasn't even in the game. Only like once or twice I seen her through my playthroughs, which is insane when she was promoted as the main villain of this game. Then the other endings sucked. Their drawings sucked. Besides like freeing Vanny ending and Burnt Trap ending, which don't make sense. I don't know. At least Burnt Trap ending doesn't. And even kind of Vanny. And the map design doesn't make sense at all. Where do you, like, it doesn't show where to go, where the missions are. I mean, I was so confused. I didn't make sense since, like, it took me an hour to figure out where to, like, one of these took me an hour to figure out where to go. And Mazer size, don't get me started on that doo-doo ass, funky ass mission. Mazer size is the worst mission in the whole game. I don't know. Besides that, the character designs and their personality I like. Like, I personally like the designs. I really do. I really love them. But it didn't really fit for a FNAF game. I know what they were going for, but it's like it still didn't work as they intended it. And I really wanted to see it. And I don't know. Overall, story didn't make sense. It was just everywhere and just a waste of potential for a first free roam FNAF game. And look, I'm not one of those FNAF fans that wants guts and gore or like it to be like the VR or the VHS tapes. Maybe for like some of them, but not all of them. I think they're good if they did their own thing in like another universe, but in this one, it's not really what made FNAF like scary. It was the atmosphere, the fear of what's to come, the like the unknown, the like what's coming next and this and that. But look, I still love the game. The characters, the designs, the making, like people, like I still love the game a lot. I have good memories playing it with my cousin, like the daycare level, and how he beat it in full darkness because the flashlight battery died. But for me, the bad outweighs the good. And I hate to say it, but it really does. Looking back on this game and thinking if this game was good, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this game. I just wish Vanny was in the game more. But if I were to make the game, she would probably be one of the most important characters and would show up a lot more, and she would just be, you know. And in the game, this is one thing I don't like, and I'm not trying to be one of those people like, oh my god, you know. But I feel like this game gives us more questions than answers, which I'm really starting to hate with FNAF. I mean, it doesn't have to answer everything. It doesn't have to be like, oh yeah, this and that, plain out and simple. But just at least one thing that leads us to the right direction. That's like, oh yeah, and this leads to that. Oh, I feel like we're getting more questions with these games than answers. I just, like, why play the next FNAF game when nothing will be answered? Well, but we'll just get more questions though, and like lore. I get, well, you know, whatever. I'll get into it when like FNAF Help Wanted, when I review FNAF Help Wanted 2 later right now. So remember this point because I'll be talking about that in FNAF Help Wanted 2. So yeah, that was a lot. I may have loved FNAF Security Breach, but it doesn't mean, sorry, there ain't like bad things about it. There can be a bad game or movie or even a comic book, but people can still like that. I mean, even I like bad movies or like shows or this and that. But for me, I only like some parts of the game. So I would have to put FNAF. And then, look, it does hurt me. I really do love this game. It means a lot. Because, like, I don't know. It does mean a lot, this game. Because it's like the very first FNAF game I beat. I got and I beat. Without even knowing what happened, without how to play it, how to do this or that. So I'll put FNAF Security Breach in poo. A lot of bad things held it from moving to bad or even okay. But I'm sorry. I love this game. But there's just so many bad things that kept it from being good. You can tell the game was rushed, and I wish they spent more time on it. And you could tell they should have spent more time on it. And so I'm just really disappointed. And overall, I really do hope they do a remake or something like that, which I think would be fantastic. But I don't know. I mean, they already done it, and they already released like a DLC, which we'll get into that right now. I know the Ruin DLC was way better than I thought it was gonna be. The horror was good. The story was better than FNAF Security Breach. You felt the horror, and you felt the like atmosphere. You felt intense. You felt something like something is coming, and I don't know where, why, the unknown. And just overall, a great DLC. Did wish it was longer, but that's how it is, I just wish it was. The mimic's cool, but I don't really like it because you have to read the books, or like at least know about someone talking about the mimic and then learn about that. Because if someone played this game and knew the FNAF lore, but didn't know what the mimic was because he didn't read the books, because the books, he don't really read books, or like certain books or whatever, then he would have no idea what the mimic is. But everything else wasn't bad. Love the atmosphere. I love the characters. I love the reason why we're there. This and that. Just overall, just great like that. The designs, the building, I don't know. Overall, great. Now, the mexes, it was cool too, I'm not gonna lie. But I also didn't really like the design of it. But the gameplay was really cool. Especially with the mask and how they went into a different world, which was fucking sick as fuck. So I would put Ruin at good. It's a great start to something that I can't wait to see more of. So I don't really have anything to say. It's just this game really outshines Security Breach as a whole. If I had to pick which one I would play more, I would rather play Ruin, because right now I'm actually kind of doing that. I'm making my cousin play it because he played FNAF Security Breach with me because he bought it for his PS4 when I didn't have shit. And now we both have a PS5. Luckily for me, because I saved up a lot. So, well, actually my granny, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. So I would put this game at good. I'm not gonna lie. So let's get on to the next game. FNAF VR Help Wanted 2. Which, to be honest, I don't really know what's going on in the game story-wise, but gameplay was fire. Overall, it was very cool. It was very different from the other two games. It really used the new VR to its advantage, and the graphics and all that, which I think was cool. And well, it kind of my bad. I didn't mean to say before I don't know what the story is, because I know what the story is. It's just the ending's confusing me, but I'll get into that later. The story is pretty, depending, I guess, not simple, but complicated. Gameplay was cool though. I like how it brought elements from Security Breach and this and that. It just, it's not like there weren't parts that I didn't like, but overall, the game wasn't that bad. But it didn't really make sense, especially with the ending with Vanny. What was going on here? There's like 3 endings. One of them confirms to happen since it happens in Ruin. Like, you give the mask to was it not Abby? I forgot her name. I'm sorry. Anyway, you give the name to the little girl. I mean the name. I mean the mask to the little girl, and then the robot like shuts down, and you're the robot in the one of the endings, and then one of the other ones is like you're bring fucking glitch trap back, which is weird. I don't know. It's just stupid. Since like I don't know. This is what I was saying earlier though. More questions than answers. Now there's a theory that we're playing as Cassie's dad. Okay, I remembered her name. I don't know why I just remembered it there. Which could be the case. At least I believe so. But we won't find out until the next FNAF game. But who knows what it will answer and what it will not. And maybe it'll bring even more questions. And that's what I kind of don't like about this game. It doesn't really... It's like... What makes you so special? I don't know. We don't know. And that's what's kind of annoying. We don't really get in like a hint or an explanation or like that as to who we are. Besides maybe it being Cassie's dad, which I think that's who we are. But like why we're there. Why are we doing... I mean, we know her dad's a mechanic and this and that. And he might be one of the bullies from FNAF 4. Which would be cool. And interesting actually. For those 3 bullies that just come back in like some way, shape, or form, or like even other characters, you know. For me, this game was like okay. I didn't really play it. I didn't really care for it. I don't know. Overall, the game was alright. I didn't really mind it. You know, it was just one of those games that was right there. So, I would put FNAF VR Help Wanted 2. Okay. I didn't really care for it, but it doesn't mean it's like worse than like Security Breach. I still did like it. There were some elements I did like, gameplay and story wise, and all that. Even though the Vanny ending is probably like makes me mad because of what is going on there, and we won't get answers to that until later down the line in the next game, which who knows when that will be. So yeah. But it did answer one important thing, which was Roxy. How Roxy got her new face. I mean, it's not important, but I don't know. I mean, I thought that was a fun fact. You know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. I'll never speak. You know. Yeah. You know. Slay. So this is where the video ends. I just want to say thank you to anyone watching this. I really appreciate it. No matter what FNAF game I rate on a tier list, masterpiece, shit, whatever, I will always have respect for FNAF and what it has done for me and so many others' lives. I'm grateful for when I joined the community back then and where the community peaked and all that in FNAF 1 and in FNAF 2, and I'm still grateful. I mean, 2014 to now, and being a fan back then until now is crazy to me. I thought I was like, oh my god, I forgot how like it's crazy. Like I was a fan since 2014. FNAF has helped a lot of fans through stuff, including me. And it got me through a lot of shit. And because of FNAF, I got into drawing and writing, as I said before. You know? And I think I wouldn't be here if not for FNAF. I want to thank FNAF and Scott and the community that has made me laugh, cry, and made me crazier with the lore. made a lot of people crazy with the lore and theories. So many memories that it gives me with the FNAF SFM animations and Minecraft videos and comic book story videos and animation and drawing animation and memes videos. And I just want to say I am so thankful and grateful for FNAF and all that it helped me through a lot. Thank you. Hey, sorry if the video's late. There's been a lot going on, like some personal stuff. Like, it's very difficult. Like, I've been kicked out and all that, but I'm figuring out it's okay. And I'm just okay. I'm alright. I just wanted to say happy 10 years of FNAF, and that I hope all of you have a great day or night. And if you want subs, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? It's right there for free. It's free, so and liking, because that's free too. You know what I'm saying? Comment if you want. Comment how would you make the FNAF list? You know what I'm saying? Do that. How would you rate each FNAF game and what and why? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would read that shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That would be very interesting. Or just say, talk about what your experience with FNAF and how it was and all that. And, and how special it was to you. Like how it was to me, so. I don't know. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let's have a great time playing, watching, and most of all, celebrating 10 years of FNAF. And many more to come. So, subscribe, like, this is Madness, and I'll see you all later.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you You had the time of your life.
Was that the bite of 87?